Alrighty, good morning, Big Bang astrologer explorers. It is Julie. It is January 4th, and I wanted to come here today because given it's the new year and so many people, when it comes to January, there's a lot of focus on resetting our lives, whether it's looking at our careers, looking at our relationships, and for millions and millions of people around the globe, wellness and fitness also becomes top of mind for people. So the other day, I was doing a consultation with the client, and we were looking at her chart that she had just had a 25-pound release. She had lost 25 pounds. And so we were going into her chart to look at, well, what kind of caused her to gain the weight in the first place. And, after I did that session with her, I started looking at my own chart, and I realized, wow, in looking at my own chart, I can see where I have struggled in my own weight loss, weight gain journey. And then I remembered a couple of years ago, I had picked up this book, Astrology and Weight Control. And so between, what I was teaching to my client the other day, what I know in astrology, and kind of getting some extra insights in this book, what I wanted to come here today is kind of talk to you about first your natal chart. And so in the Facebook group, I asked that you print out a 2-page file that has the houses on it, right? So when you create your natal chart, right, you get this circle, right? And in the circle, it has all these different slices. So each one of these 12 slices, or they're called houses in astrology, actually talks about a specific topic. And as you continue in your astrology journey, you really want to get clear on the terms of houses, signs, and planets. And I want you to think about it in this simple term. I created a little cheat sheet here. So when we're talking about a planet is going to talk about what action, like what actually is happening. So it's the sun, it's going to be shining a light on somewhere in your careers. If it's Mars, it's going to be something that's going to be motivating or passion, or maybe there's some conflict. If it's Jupiter, which we're going to talk about Jupiter, it expands everything it touches, good and not so good, right? So the planet is going to talk about what's happening. Then the sign itself, right? Sagittarius, Pisces, Aquarius, that's going to be the style, the flavor. Is it an earth sign? Is it an air sign? Is it a cardinal energy? Is it a mutable energy, right? So the style of how the action is going to take place will give you some clues with the sign. And then the house, right? That's the location of where the action and that style is going to be taking place. So think of the game Clue, right? It's like, you think of the character, what happened, how do they do it, and in what room in the house it is, right? So again, what is planet? How is sign? House is where? What I want to start with today is the houses, right? So if you print out your sheet and then also have your natal chart, you can start, playing around with this and following along by writing down if you have any of planets or signs in these houses. So the first thing I want you to look at when we're looking at weight issues or struggles in someone's chart, there's going to be 4 different houses that I look at. The first and most important house I'm going to look at is the first house. It's called the ascendant, right? This is the eastern horizon. So this is where your soul entered based on the time, location, and date you were born. And in this first house, it gives us a lot of clues about our actual physical body. So this would be a place that we look at, right, to see if there's any indicators in here that would talk about maybe struggles with weight. Another place we're going to look at is the fourth house. The fourth house in astrology is our home. It's our emotional security, right? Maybe emotional eating, but it's ruled by Cancer. And Cancer actually rules the belly area and the breast area. So that's kind of, and Cancer is a little flabby and mushy. And so we're going to look to planets in either the fourth house or Cancer. Then we're going to look at the sixth house. If you have any planets in the sixth house, the sixth house is the area of your life where we look at for service, for imbalances, and health and well-being. So again, this is a really important house that we look at for your well-being. And then finally, we're going to look at the ninth house. The ninth house is all about like areas of our life where there's expansion, where there's growth. And how do we do that? We do that through travel, overseas, far and away. We do it through higher education. We do it by learning and professional development. We do it by hiring coaches and mentors and preachers in our life. So again, the houses that you want to look at is number 1, your body. Number 4, we look at our belly and our breasts. 6th house is health, and the 9th house is expansion. So now that you have your chart, right, I want you, so what we're going to look at next. So first we looked at the houses. Now what we're going to look at is the actual signs that have a tendency to have more of a struggle with weight than the others. And what I found is there are 6 signs that, kind of are the top 6 of the 12 signs that kind of have an indicator towards, more struggles than others with weight. And interesting, where are my notes here? Did houses. So interesting, what those signs are going to be the 4 fixed signs of Taurus, of Scorpio, of Aquarius, right? And actually it's Taurus. And Cancer. And then the 2 signs that are ruled by Jupiter, Sagittarius and Pisces. So let's look a little deeper on this here. Okay, so the first one I want you to look at is Taurus. Where's Taurus in your house? Are you a Taurus rising? It is in your first house, right? Is Taurus in your 4th, 6th, or 9th house? So specifically, like I'm going to talk about now, what Taurus in your first house, right? So I have some notes on the back here. So Taurus will be green, right? It's an earth sign. You want to look for this little symbol glyph here. Person Taurus, typically, again, these are all general observations, and there's a lot of different layers to astrology. But we're just kind of starting with some simple things. A Taurus type of body type is thick. Think of the linebacker, the bull. It tends to be a little shorter, and more muscle structure. Another reason why Taurus could be a challenge with weight, it's ruled by the planet Venus. And Venus is all about liking our sweets, right? So we want to look at your chart. And if you have Taurus in that first house, 4th house, or 6th house, or 9th house, that may be an indicator, and we're going to look at the planets too, of, maybe having some issues. And again, it's a fixed sign, and fixed signs don't like to change. So it's a challenge for these fixed signs that when they realize something isn't working, specifically their body, they kind of tend to beat themselves up a little bit more before they actually take action. The next sign that you want to look for is Cancer in your chart, right? Cancer is a water sign, right? It retains water. It rules the breast area, it rules the belly area, and it rules our emotions. So Cancer, looking at it, from an astrological sign, again, depending on where it falls in your chart and other aspects to it, having a strong Cancer or a lot of, energy towards Cancer can indicate some struggles with food. So we want to look at that. And again, it's ruled by the moon. The moon is large. People who are born with a Cancer rising or a full moon baby, they actually have rounder faces. So you want to look at where Cancer is in your chart. Wait till you see my chart and how these things show up. The next one is Scorpio. Again, another water sign. You want to look for this glyph. And with Scorpio, it's ruled by Pluto. And Pluto is the planet of secrets. It's the planet of addictions and self-sabotage, right? So, having a lot of Scorpio in your chart and not being truthful, kind of sneaking addictions, we want to see if this Scorpio, right, is falling in any area here of your chart. There might be some clues, right? It's only one clue, but it might be one of the clues that we begin to look at if you are struggling with your weight. Again, wait till you see my chart. It's kind of hilarious when I show you how much challenges I have. The next sign we want to look at is Sagittarius. Again, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, right? Jupiter is fun and jolly and thick and heavy, and tendency to have more bottom heavy. So again, I have some Sagittarius in my chart, and it's close to the first house. And I've always struggled with, being curvy, right? Let's see if I can admit. I've always struggled with my thigh area. So that's what Sagittarius will be, you want to look for in your chart as well. Again, remember, Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter. And so anything where Jupiter goes, it wants to expand. The next sign we want to look at in your chart, whether it's in your first, your fourth, your sixth, or your ninth, is Aquarius, right? Now, typically Aquarius in people's charts have to do with athletes and having like really great athletic ability. But one thing you want to look at, it is a fixed sign. So again, it doesn't like to change. But when it does change, what's interesting about Aquarius and what you want to look at, it's ruled by Uranus. And Uranus in the chart, Uranus is all about like sudden change and big swings, right? So people with Aquarius in their chart, they can be a little more compulsive. And it's a sudden weight loss of like out of the blue, they went from being heavy to all of a sudden they had this extreme weight loss really fast. Hey, Teresa, you can join if you want and put your camera on. Some people are at work, so they can't put their camera on. But if you want to join with your camera, you can. And then the last sign that you want to look at in your chart, which I forgot to create a sign for, but let me make it so you can see, is Pisces, right? And so Pisces in your chart, right? Another water sign that's ruled by Jupiter. And what happens with Pisces, it's ruled by Neptune. And Neptune, not only is it very foggy, it's very mushy, and it's connected to, I hate to say, but it's connected to mammals and whales and flab. So Neptune and Pisces, right? We want to look at it in our chart and be like, okay, like, how is this like showing up for me? So we looked at the houses, right? The first house, your body; fourth house, belly; sixth house, wealth and health and wellness; ninth house, expansion. We looked at the 6 different signs of Taurus, of Cancer, of Aquarius, of Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Pisces. These are all signs, right? We'll have a flavor, a tendency to lean towards either, ongoing struggles with weight or different times of our life, right? That we're going to have struggles with weight. And then also what we want to look at is the planets themselves. And so the first planet you want to look at in your chart is to see, where is Jupiter in your chart? Jupiter looks like the number 4 with a little cross on the bottom, right? So you want to look in your chart and to see, where do you have Jupiter, especially if you have Jupiter in this first house, which my client the other day that I was talking to, she had Jupiter here, right? So she had Jupiter in her chart and she had Scorpio, right? So Scorpio, we talked about one of the signs, a little more of addiction, a little more compulsive, and she had Jupiter here, right? So those are 2 indicators right off the bat that I can see, oh, this client could probably have, struggles with weight, right? The other sign we want to look for is Pluto. And Pluto actually has like 2 different signs. You can look at the glyph, it looks like this, right? Or sometimes it's just a big P kind of with an L on it, right? But why do we want to look for Pluto? Well, again, Pluto associated with Scorpio, and it deals with darkness and secrets and compulsions, right? So there might be some areas in your chart where there's some sneaking going around and not really being in deep denial about some of our food habits that we have. So we have Jupiter, we have Pluto. We also want to look for Neptune in your chart, because like I said, Neptune rules the oceans. It rules kind of the fatty whales in the ocean as well. So Neptune is actually associated with some blubber too. So now, how do we layer this all together? I think the best way I can show you, you can do it for yourself, is I'm going to show you my own chart. So I'm going to share my screen. And I thought I had it open. 1 second. Let me pull up. Here's my chart. Okay, so I'm going to go back and pull up my chart. And now we can kind of see how this plays out in someone's chart. So remember, I talked about the first thing we want to look at is look at the 4 different houses. We have the first house, which is our physical body. 4th house talks about kind of like Cancer house, right? It's the 4th house, it's emotional eating. We want to look at the 6th house with well-being and our health and wellness, and the 9th house. So when you look at my first house, ooh, I have Scorpio, one of the signs, right? That talks about maybe having some weight issues. Oh, I have Neptune here. Okay, I got 2 of them, right? So all of a sudden I got 2. Oh, wow, my Neptune in Scorpio, I have Cancer up here in the 9th house. Oh, 3. So right now I have 3 indicators in my chart that would say, hey, Julie, you know, this is something that, you know, if I was coaching myself as a client and I came to an astrologer saying like, why am I struggling with my weight? These are things that the astrologer would be able to point out. I also have here in the 4th house, Aquarius, right? So Aquarius, another fixed sign that has a big spurts of like sudden change or sudden gain, right? So that's a 4th indicator I have in my chart. So right there, I can see that, you know, with Neptune in my first chart, my moon, there could be some emotional eating there. There could be secrets and some addictions that, you know, I haven't faced and need to deal with, right? I can see down here in Aquarius, okay, how do I, you know, understand what's happening at an emotional level? Over here in the 6th house is actually kind of interesting, because the 6th house, we've been looking at some of the things that are challenging with our weight. But the nice thing for me here at the 6th house, I have Saturn, and Saturn is the planet of discipline, right? Saturn is the planet of self-control. So if I really wanted to, you know, pay attention to what area of my chart supports my well-being, I can look at the 6th house, right? And so the house tells you where, right? So this is my health and well-being. The sign tells you what, right? The flavor, the style, right? Aries is about being very physical. It's about running and fighting and doing things on your own, right? And it's a fire sign. So I would truly benefit to help with my weight loss, right, is to do a lot of running, a lot of cardio, and working out on my own would definitely benefit me. You know, so again, if you guys are here and you want to kind of ask some questions, that's really what this is about. You know, it helps when you have your chart and I can help speak into it. So, oops. All right. What I can also show you too is another part in your chart. When you have a reading with me, what I look at in your chart is your progressed moon, right? So remember, the moon is something in our life that it's our emotions, right? And so the progressed moon in everyone's chart spends about 30 months in each one of the signs. And it takes about 30 years for it to go all the way around the chart. So knowing where your progressed moon is really important. And once again, I happen to have a combination in my progressed moon. When I go back to my chart and look at my progressions, and you can see here that the moon, my progressed moon, entered Cancer 3 months ago. And so for the next 27 months, I have my progressed moon hanging out in Cancer and coming close to my natal moon. So that is a very strong indicator for me, right? That I really need to pay attention to my belly fat, to gaining weight in my breast area, and really needing to lean into this Aries if I want to counterbalance some of these challenges, because that's just it, right? We all have times in our life when things are a little more stressful and when things are a little more easy. So what you want to do, from this class is, one, print out that sheet that I showed you that has all the houses on it, right? And then you want to mark down, put down your ascendant and put down all the different signs so you can see this, live for yourself. Then notice, like me, do you have Scorpio in the first house? Wow, Julie talked about the first house's body. Do I have any planets there that are some of the planets that can add to weight challenges? And start using the things I talked about to see where you might have your own challenges. That was in the natal chart itself. What I also am going to invite you to do is, the planets, oops, sorry, I want to shut off my phone. Thought this was off. The planets keep moving. Right. So like my client the other day that I was talking to, she had this weight loss. And so what we want to look at also is where planets like Jupiter and Neptune are actually today in your chart. So going back and using my chart as an example, and I'm going to go back to my transit chart, like where are the planets today? And I just want to make sure that this changed. Okay, so now you can see my natal chart. And so this is the center when I was born. The blue are all the signs that never change, right? They're all the planets that never change in your chart. And now these planets that are red, right, are where the planets are today, right? So we want to look, oh, wow, Jupiter, right? I talked about Jupiter, one of the planets that can expand wherever it is. Wow, Jupiter is in the sign of Pisces. Right now, we all have Jupiter in Pisces, right? But I have it in my 5th house, and the 5th house is all about fun and activities. So a good thing for me to do is to do Pisces things to help with my weight gain. So this would be or minimize my weight gain. So Pisces would be yoga, being out in nature, dancing. Those are things that I can use to my advantage, versus the other Pisces activities that would really set me off would be drinking, smoking pot, eating things that aren't healthy for you, right? So how do you use these transits that are coming through your chart to your advantage versus your disadvantage? Here in the 4th house, remember I said I had Aquarius. Aquarius rules the ankles, and in that 4th house is water with Cancer. Sometimes, right, I have water retention in my ankles. For me and for all of you, Saturn, the planet of restriction, is in Aquarius for all of us, but I have it here in my 4th house. So that's an opportunity for self-discipline, self-control, right? Really being more aware, right? That I have to watch what I eat, be more outgoing, because there's a tendency there, right? In order to even get cankles, and nobody likes cankles. Oh, they're disgusting. And I noticed, a couple years ago, I was having challenges with water retention in my ankles because I was standing too much. I had a desk similar to that I have right now where I can stand up or sit down, but I didn't have a good pad under my feet. And so standing 10, 12 hours a day, my circulation, because Aquarius can rule poor circulation, the blood wasn't flowing. And so I had some issues in my ankles as well. So again, pull out your birth chart. Want you to take that piece of paper. This is a great worksheet. Mark on there. Where's Taurus, Scorpio, Cancer, right? You want to find Sagittarius, Pisces, and Aquarius in your chart. Are they in the first, fourth, sixth, ninth house? Do you have the planets of Jupiter or Neptune, right? In either in any one of the first, fourth, sixth, or ninth houses. These could all be the beginning indicators of some of your challenges with your weight issues. I really wish some of you would turn on your cameras. Oh, there you are. Hi, Teresa. So much better when people are here. So one thing that I do want to point out to all of you is, remember I talked about transits and Jupiter. So when I was talking to my client the other day, Jupiter is the planet that takes 12 years to go around your chart, and it spends 1 year in every sign. So remember, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, it expands wherever it goes. So in 2018, Jupiter was in the sign of Scorpio. If you are like me and you're a Scorpio rising, right, whenever Jupiter comes into that first house, there's a tendency, right, with some of the other factors, that there could be some weight gain. Again, Sagittarius, a year later, Jupiter moved into Sag. So if it was in your first house, right, and Jupiter's there, or kind of maybe close to your first house or by your sun, because, Teresa, you're on, and I know you're a Sagittarius sun, and Jupiter getting closer to your sun, right, you just want to look at it expands what it touches. So there could have been, or, like I said, Sagittarius, some of the weight gain could be in that lower area and your thighs and your buttocks area. Then in 2020, Jupiter was in Capricorn. Now, interesting, Capricorn is the sign of discipline, right, and self-control. But in 2020, Jupiter was also in Capricorn with Pluto. And what's interesting in that combination of Pluto and Jupiter is this. Jupiter is all about our fulfillment, right? Things that are our blessings. And Pluto is our deep desire. And when we are not living aligned with our truth and not living aligned and feeling restricted, that we can't go after those things that we want, that can have a negative impact on our emotional well-being and on our bodies. Well, 2020, Jupiter, Pluto, they were together for the whole year in 2020. What happened in 2020 for the globe, right? The pandemic hit. The world was shut down. People weren't able to really travel. Like Jupiter's about travel. Pluto is power. We were feeling powerless about what was happening in the world. What happened to so many people? COVID-19, it became the COVID-19 pounds we all gained, right? Because we were feeling powerless about what was happening out there in the world. So many people between 2020 and 2021 were experiencing some weight gain. In 2021, Jupiter, again, the planet of expansion, spent a year in the sign of Aquarius. Remember, Aquarius is one of the 6 signs that I said has a tendency to have big swings with their weight. So remember, my chart, I had Aquarius in the 4th house, right? And so with Jupiter there, right, needed to watch and pay attention to emotional eating, right? Was I binging? This is like an indicator for binging, trying to do fad diets. Aquarius is all about forward thinking and trying new things, right? But we all know that the quick fix isn't the healthy way to get to our weight loss goals, right? And so we want to be careful with that Jupiter in Aquarius, that we're not looking for shortcuts, that we really need to stay disciplined and create a long-lasting lifestyle than something really quick and sudden. So now in 2022, where is Jupiter? Well, for all of us, Jupiter will be in Pisces. Again, one of the signs that I talked about, right? Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Neptune is a little more flabby and kind of the blubber. It's going to be there from January through May. What's a better way to use that Pisces energy, right? Jupiter, whatever it touches, expands. Meditation, dance, yoga. These are all wonderful ways that you can lean into using Jupiter from a positive perspective. Here's the good thing for all of us. Mark this down. From May till October of 2022, for all of us in the collective, Jupiter is going to leave Pisces for a couple of months and hang out in the sign of Aries. What's Aries? Aries, a fire sign. Aries is the warrior. It rules martial arts. It rules kind of battle. This is like weightlifting. This is intense working out. So in 2022, Aries, starting May and October, maybe you want to start training for, I know Teresa is training for a marathon. Right now, the energy with Aries, we want to be careful because Aries is about sprints. It goes out really fast, but it doesn't have a lot of follow through, right? But this is an opportunity to get some cardio in our life, like do some like martial arts, like what are some things, and becoming more disciplined. It's simply as being more disciplined using this Aries. And the nice thing is that, Jupiter will be in Pisces from January to May, go into Aries from May to October, and then it's going to go back into Pisces from October through December. And then 2023, right, if it moves one sign every year, now Jupiter is going into Aries again. So the same energy that we're experiencing from May to October, we'll have an opportunity in 2023 to really leverage that energy even stronger. So for me, remember in my chart, my Aries is in my 6th house. So I've already started like my well-being practice. Interesting. Oh my gosh, I just thought about this. So Teresa and I are doing dry January. Pisces, right? We're not drinking, so we're expanding on the positive, right? And then the other thing that I'm taking on in January is I'm doing a 30-day challenge, 30-month challenge, right? To walk 100 miles. That means it's about 3 miles a day. And I'm doing it, I didn't even think about this, for veterans, Aries, the military. Gosh, like I'm so aligned almost already with my Jupiter into Aries, because in this weight loss journey that I want to get fit on, not just lose weight quickly in a fad like Aquarius, right? This is something that I want to sustain. Sometimes just having my own goals isn't good enough. And so to be accountable to do this challenge for the veterans is something that will help me stay motivated and focus on them, because right now, statistically, every day, 22 veterans commit suicide. And I've had, 2 members in my own family commit suicide, not from being veterans, but I know the struggle that happens for people. And this time of year, the end of the year, Christmas time and coming to the new year, we hear a lot about people kind of just checking out. Right? They couldn't handle it. They don't want to be here anymore. Right? And so this is an opportunity to use this Jupiter energy, right, for something positive. Jupiter is uplifting. Jupiter is a blessing in our life. So instead of expanding upon the negative things or the things that take us out, right, let's use this Jupiter energy to be uplifting, to be an inspiration to other people. Right. And if you need to, kind of doing what I'm doing with Teresa, is find a buddy, find somebody that's going to help you in this weight loss journey. So, to come back full circle, because I know, Teresa, you came on a little later, what I was sharing with the group, Astrology 101, when you're thinking about just looking at your natal chart, and I'm talking about planets, signs, and houses, how do you do all that layering? And so it's really, it goes like this. The planet talks about an action, what's going on, right? So we talked about Jupiter, it expands things. Mars, it's where we take action, right? So that's like the what, the action that we're doing. The sign that that planet is going to tell the flavor, the style, how that planet is taking action, right? So if you have Mars in Aries, right, it's going to want to like go out and run and do sprints. But if Mars is in Pisces, a water sign that's mutable, it's going to want to dance. It's going to want to meditate, right? So you have your action, your flavor, and then the houses talk about the location. Where is that happening in your life? So for me, Pisces, 5th house. So that is my house of joy, my house of self-expression. So I would benefit with Jupiter, the planet of expansion, being in that house for the next couple of months. I would benefit from yoga, from dance, from doing things, meditation. These are all things that would be really great on my body. So Teresa, and looking at your own chart, so you're a Libra rising, correct?
Yes.
So Libra rising. So
no, I'm a Virgo. I'm Virgo.
You're Virgo rising. Okay, so Virgo rising. Virgo rising. So Virgo rising, that means, so you have Virgo, then you have Libra, and then you have Scorpio. So Scorpio is your 3rd house, correct?
Hold on, let me just check. Scorpio.
So Virgo would be your 1st house.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any planets there?
In the 1st house.
In your 1st house.
Yeah, Pluto and Uranus.
Okay, Pluto and Uranus. So Uranus isn't a planet. So both of those, right? Uranus is ruled by Aquarius. Pluto is ruled by Scorpio. 2 of the signs that we say, hey, that's the sign of addictions, compulsiveness, right? Sudden changes. So you want to be careful. Virgo in that 1st house, your body. It could be a perfectionist at times, right? And you might get a little too compulsive, right? And with Uranus there, right, it is the sign of the athlete, right? I know your house is full of equipment, right? And you love to do things that are like inventive, and you use a lot of technology. So you use a lot of technology, right, in your weight loss journey. So that's kind of how we can look at that there, right? Cool. And now come down to your 4th house. What sign do you have here in your 4th house?
It looks like, hold on.
So you have Virgo, Libra. It should be Sagittarius. Is it Sag?
Or I'm looking to see, hold on.
It should be red. It's the arrow.
Yeah, red arrow.
Right? Okay. Yeah. Right. So that's Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is one of the signs, right, that has a tendency to be a little more indulgent, right? It rules the lower area, our bottoms, our butts, our thighs. It's, our belly area. It's in your 4th house, right? So this is, you just want, and do you have any planets there?
Mercury. Mercury.
Okay, Mercury Mercury is how we think. So that wouldn't be that I wouldn't know that I wouldn't like pay attention to as much. Where is your natal Jupiter in your chart? The one that looks like a 4 with the little cross.
Yep, that is hold on. The 4, it looks like it's up in my 10th house.
10th house, a career. Okay, 10th house is a career. So Sagittarius sitting here in the 4th has a connection with your 10th house. So that right now isn't such an indicator that I would worry about for you. So now let's go. So it's Sagittarius, then we have Capricorn. So that means you have Aquarius here in the 6th house, correct?
Yeah, I have to hold on. Aquarius.
Aquarius is going to be yellow, and it's going to have the little waves through them.
Yes, but that looks like it's in my 5th house.
So you probably don't have your chart in a whole sign.
Yeah, I have this one.
Yeah, you don't have it as a whole sign. So count the signs themselves, and it's the 6th sign.
Okay. So I'm going to put numbers on it.
Yep.
Okay.
It's the sixth, it rules the sixth house. So
Okay.
again, Aquarius, sixth house, right? Aquarius is going in your house of health and well-being.
Mm-hmm.
You like to use technology for your health
Yeah.
and well-being. You
Mm-hmm.
like to look, you're inventive. You like to use alternative. Aquarius is alternative, right? So these are all, there's not always it's negative, right? How do you use, things that could overcome? So, like doing, having alternative tradition, alternative ways of eating like this, like you actually are living into that chart right now. Has that changed over the years?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so, and what last year, Jupiter was actually traveling through Aquarius. Think of all the equipment and technology you bought last year for your health and well-being.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And so now Pisces is here in your seventh house. Seventh
Yes.
house really isn't going to talk about, do you have any planets here?
Let me see. It looks like I've got Neptune. No, that's not a planet.
Yeah, Neptune's a planet.
Oh, yeah, it looks like I have Neptune and looks like a K with a
Oh,
zero on.
yeah, Chiron. So you have Pisces here and Neptune, right? So there is a connection between relationships and could be emotional eating, this
Mhm.
house and seventh house. So you want to be careful, right? That, if things don't go well, sometimes in relationships, there could be a tendency for comfort.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just going to kind of look at that. And so
Okay.
you have Pisces, and then you have Aries in the eighth house, and that means you have Taurus in the ninth house.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
the ninth house is the planet of expansion, right? So wherever, so Taurus rules our values, our self-worth, right? Is there any sign sitting in there? Any planet sitting in there?
It looks like I've got the moon in there, but
Okay, moon, right? So moon, when we look at the moon is fleshy, it's comfort, it's our belly, right? So we want to, be careful. And Taurus rules our throat area, right? So we want to just pay attention again. Did you have thyroid challenges?
yeah. Well, I did. I don't have them.
Right, but that would suit Taurus with the moon.
Mhm.
Could kind of have some issues with our throat area that we'd want to look at. Right.
Okay.
So yeah, again, so we looked at your body area, we looked at the fourth house, we looked at your health and well-being, and we looked at the ninth house, right? And so, I feel like, in looking at your chart, I can honestly say that whatever your journey is today,
Mhm.
right? Being very progressive, you're very assertive, you take action, right? You really lead with health and wellness. I mean, as a nutritionist, and this is your life's calling. Sixth house is your vocation, right? So you
Mhm.
have a lot of this Aquarian energy in here. Again, being very this is circulation. Aquarius is circulation. This is our ankle area. This is the lower part of our leg area here. When we look at our body, right? And again, just from health and wellness, the way it starts is Aries rules our head. This, our fair, and then the throat area is Taurus. The Gemini is our limbs and our hands. Our breast area and down to our bellies is Cancer. Then after Cancer, we kind of get down to our heart area is Leo, rules our heart and our back and our spine. We have Virgo that starts to kind of come down into like our intestines area. We have then Scorpio. Oh no, that it's Libra. Oh, what does Libra rule? I have to go back and see. Libra has to probably do something with balance. I got to find out where Libra rules. Then Scorpio rules all our intestines and our sex organs. Then Sagittarius is going to rule our hip and our thigh area. Capricorn is our knees and our bone structure. Then you have Aquarius, which is our ankles, and then Pisces are our feet. So you have the whole astrology. So sometimes when someone has an accident or a part of their body, isn't feeling good, I can go in and see, you know, where that is happening in their chart for them. So again, you know, I don't know if people realize just how many different ways we can use astrology. So, you know, again, with everything, you know, with New Year's and starting year right and looking for ways just to jumpstart in a positive direction, wanted to come on here today and show you how you can use astrology for your wellness. So Teresa or some other people that are in the wellness field, just want to plant the seed that if you're ever like with your client, this is something that you'd want to offer to them, be more than happy to work with you. And we can look at their chart from a health perspective and we can do together, and then really helping you in planning the rest of their fitness and wellness journey. So just want to point that out there to you. And what I also would like to do, just for this group in itself, typically my astrology readings are $297, but through the end of January, if you guys book, what I'll do, it will only be $150. What we'll do is we'll look at all the transits for 2022, and then we'll look at your progress chart, just like I showed you mine, and I'll show you which planet is the most powerful one for you in this year. So love to be able to support you guys. You know, the information that I give here, you know, with the group is more general, but when you come on to these classes, a little mini deep dives, like Teresa got to have some one-on-one coaching today and looking at our chart. So thank you for being part of this community. Again, I highly recommend that you print out this house chart and really keep this as a staple to your astrology learnings. Go in here and start with your ascendant, put all the signs in here, then put what planets are in here. And then through the houses, you can see what areas, right? So what's happening, what action, what's the flavor of that action, and what area of your life is being impacted. So thanks for being part of the Teaching Me Tuesdays. I'll be doing more of these throughout the year. And then starting in March, which is the new year for astrology, when we come into Aries, I'll be sharing with you some courses that I will be teaching monthly and having a couple of year-long programs as well. So for those of you who have expressed interest in wanting to learn with me, I'm excited to share with you that I'm putting those things together now, and we'll be kicking those off in the new astrology year come March. So have a great day, have a great week. Check out your chart from your wellness. And then if you're still challenged onto where you can lean into the benefits and the positive parts of your chart, give me a call. Let's do a scheduled consultation. It's only $150, and I promise you there will be the greatest investment in what you can lean into and take advantage of in 2022. Have a great day, y'all. Bye-bye.